Hey there guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a PvP tier list for the brand new game Tarisland MMORPG cross-playing between PC and mobile. And I wanted to give you guys my input now that we've reached essentially level cap 38. We're on to the third day of the official launch. And I've been playing Arena quite a bit today to try to gauge where the classes are in standing. And this one is definitely going to shuffle up a couple of things. If you have played PvP, then you should know where most of these classes currently stand. But I did want to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of my input. Now, if you watch my PvE tier list, which I'll link in the comment section here, feel free to check that out. You'll see that I am going to change quite a few things between my last review compared to the PvP. And that's just because, as you progress in the game, players are getting more gear. You start to see really some of these classes start to branch out quite a bit when it comes to damage. And it also, of course, it's always going to be dependent on the player, right? But this is essentially the third day. I'm starting to see some of the more focused individual players, sitting in arena. And I'm looking at those charts, looking at who exactly is sitting at the top, what their gear looks like. And, I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys my overall opinion today after spending quite a bit of time in arenas and testing things out. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start off by letting you guys know that I added another tier at top for the S plus tier compared to my last PvE, which is just the S. And that is really driven by only one particular character who, if you saw my last review, I was not really too much of a fan of. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with putting the Bard right at S plus tier right now. So again, my initial thoughts on the game itself when it came to the Bard is that I really, and again, this is my personal opinion, I just find it really annoying to play with the Bard sounds, the music that gets released with your spells. But somebody did mention in the comments that you can actually turn it off. So I went and checked it out, and you can turn it off. So my experience with the Bard significantly improved after turning those settings off. So for those of you guys that are playing a Bard and were upset with me because I put the Bard under the A tier on my PvE tier list, you can be rest assured that I'm changing that, and the Bard is now officially back on the S tier, and I'm going to go ahead and leave him there and letting you guys know that he's basically going to sit on a league of his own right now in PvP. So if you have been playing PvP, then you should definitely know that the Bard is just brutal up top. So the solo is the spec for the range DPS for the Bard, and it's a little nuts right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave him way up on the S plus tier, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be the Rage Warrior, and this one came off as a bit of a surprise for me because in my initial arena the first day and then the second day, I did not see the warrior anywhere near the top. They were always towards like, the mid or the bottom. But this today alone, I must have seen at least 30 or 40 rage warriors sitting right at the top. So the warrior for me, I'm guessing that, folks are spending a little bit more time in the game. They're getting better gems. They're putting up their better attributes, and he definitely kicked up quite a bit today in the standings. And his damage and the stuns are just pretty nuts right now. There's charge, of course, as well. So the warrior definitely kicked up quite a bit for me today compared to my PVE standings yesterday. And I'm gonna stick with my what I put on my PVE standings on my last video. Don't think that I'm not like changing my stance on it. I still think that the warrior is going to be a B tier tank, but for PvP right now, the warrior, if you spent a decent amount of money, into those gem boxes, then you definitely are sitting in a pretty nice spot right now with the warrior in PvP. So next that I'm going to put right up there with them is going to be the priest. The priest to me right now is actually really good in PvP, not just because the heals are actually pretty powerful in there, but if you are playing a support healer inside PvP, you have some pretty decent spells on your kit that are going to be helping heal up everybody. And I think right now in today's map, it showed really how important a priest can be in PvP. And there was a couple priests that I saw that were just absolutely nuts. Even so, there was a faith spec priest. Faith, if you guys don't know, is the range DPS spec for the priest. And he was definitely way up there with the Bard. He did have much higher level gear than the Bard did that was in that particular match. And I'm gonna try to start to post some of those gameplays here in the next couple of days. But for now, you guys can kind of see that or at least understand that my ranking right now is putting the Bard up top, Warrior below her, and then the Priest right next. So if you look at my PVE, rankings, they were pretty much in the B tier and the A tier, kind of like a little bit lower. But today in PvP, they're actually pretty solid right up there. So moving on to the next class right now, for me, it's going to be again the Paladin. I still think he's an S plus or an S tier character for arenas. Depending on your gear, you may shift between S and A, but I did see a pretty decent amount of Paladins, Justice Paladins in PvP and arenas today doing really well. So I'm still gonna stick with the Paladin way up there. Now, the next class that I'm going to go ahead and put up there is going to be the Barbarian Fighter. And, this one kind of surprised me again today. I honestly wasn't sure if whether I should keep him under the A tier or the S tier. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put him on the S tier again. The Thunder Barbarian Fighter right now is actually pretty good. Because it does you can basically spam some of your attacks, and this is all kind of very, so I'll give you guys my reason for why I put him on the S tier. If you're able to stack a couple of your enemies in one place, you can just basically keep spamming his ultimate. And you can keep spamming, I forget the skill, the Thunder swipe skill that basically just does like a little quick AoE around you. It's like a world one, you spin to win attack. So if you're able to bunch a couple of people and they're like two or three, then you can basically spam that attack, and it makes killing everybody fairly easy. But if you're not able to bunch them up, then you're definitely sitting on the A tier. So the only reason why I'm putting him on the S tier is because the few folks that I did see in arenas today were pretty much way up there. They were either second or third on a couple of matches that I was in. So I'm going to put the Barbarian Fighter right up there on the S tier as well for PvP. So definitely changing my standings from yesterday a fair bit, but not too much to say that, I didn't, feel too comfortable. The next one that I'm going to go ahead and put up here is going to be the Shadow Swordsman. And to me, he's still sitting, way below everybody, either A or B. Again, so he's really good if you can get close to your enemy. And unfortunately, right now in arenas, there's a lot of ranged classes. So it's become increasingly difficult to put him, in an S tier level, given, the fact that the player popularity right now with characters is leaning more towards the range classes versus the melee classes. And that's pretty easy to kind of understand because a lot of the players are in the mobile space, especially in Tarisland. So right now there's not a lot of mobile players going for swordsmans. It's just a fact. You got to be quick. If you have bad connection on your phone, you're not going to be doing really well with the shadow swordsman. So I'm going to put him under A tier for now. And again, it's all going to be dependent on your gear, and if your gear is not very good, then you might be sitting down below under the B. So especially if you're like under level as well, take note of that. When you guys go into arenas right now, if you're not at the highest level, you're gonna get slammed by people that are like level 40. So, take a good solid consideration that, even though I'm making this tier list right now, it could potentially change once again once we reach maximum level. So, but for now, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with these rankings. The next one I'm gonna go ahead and throw up there is gonna be the Ranger. The Ranger for me is sitting right up there again under the S tier. She's definitely doing pretty good right now. Her pet damage, I forget the spec for the Ranger. I think it's the Tamed Beast one. That one's actually pretty good, but it doesn't do that much damage, but it's good for stunning. If you are a hunting ranger, then you're definitely sitting way up there under the S tier with some pretty good damage. So I don't know, judging by the level of effort that folks are putting into their characters, there's definitely like a huge variety, but I would say that in general, these classes are actually pretty well balanced in arenas now, and it actually makes it somewhat fun because There's not like one clear class that's absolutely on a league of its own. Bard right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put him there. But yeah, he's basically the only one that I think is like truly overpowered right now in PvP, and that basically drastically changed in the last like day or two, and that's mainly because we were able to unlock a couple more skill tree sets, and just basically opening up players that are pulling in for some of those higher tier gems, or pulling for those higher tier gems, or buying those higher tier gems. But right now, I think that the Bard's actually really way up there. Um, I don't think that people can convince me that his healing is any good still. I think he's pretty good healer, but I would probably still put him down on the like A or tier for healing. Maybe it's just me. And again, guys, don't when you hear my tier list, consider the fact that this is just my opinion, and it is just an opinion based on the current numbers that I'm seeing right now inside the game. Once we hit max level and we really find out, okay, what are the base attributes at max level? What are the cap, attributes at max level? Those secondary skills, those secondary bonuses, how much can we actually push the characters to max them out? That's when we'll really be able to tell how much damage each one of these classes is capable of doing. But for right now, I'm going to put, like I said, the Bard way up there because his damage is actually basically exploded overnight because of those new talent trees. And then so yeah, again, I'm kind of looking at most of the classes right now. They're all pretty balanced out under the S class right now, with the Bard excelling quite a bit, and then the Shadow Swordsman down below. The next one I'm actually going to put down here is going to be the Mage, and I'm going to go ahead and put the Mage right next to the Shadow Swordsman. And the only reason why I'm putting the Mage down here right now in PvP is because it is kind of squishy. So if you're a player that's invested quite a bit into your character already, and when I mean investment, I mean actually equipping, your gems, going for higher gear, doing your raids, doing your dungeons, finding the best equipment, and ensuring that you're putting in the right stats into your character, then you're going to be sitting right, between A or S for the mage. But in my encounters today, most of the mages that I went up against, I was able to pretty much two-shot them, two or three-shot them. So I'm going to go ahead and put the mages way up there because they are very, very squishy. If you can somehow, build your character out to a certain degree where the base attributes are higher than everybody else, then the mage is definitely going to be up there. So you really kind of have like two options with the mage. Either you're building out for that pure damage and risking yourself as a glass cannon, or the second option is you're going to try to play it safe and try to build up your secondary stats to try to prevent you from dying quite a bit and basically giving up some of your damage. So that's the only reason why I'm putting the mage and the A tier, is because you either become a glass cannon and unless you're a really good player, you can basically be able to execute that. But if you're not, then you're going to be sitting on the A tier. And again, a few times that I was in the arenas, I did see a couple people lagging throughout the screen as well. So lag plays a tremendous impact, and in when you're playing PvP. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the mage right down on on A. But hey, this is a review, guys. Make sure you guys leave your comment sections down below. Like, let me know what you guys think. If you think that your mage is doing really good and you really enjoy your mage and PvP, then that's great, guys. Like, I want to know, and maybe leave some input down in that comment section to tell us how you built your mage, so that you can basically influence other folks that are playing mages to help them become better, right? Because that's what the only thing that you're going to be able to do to improve everybody in a community is by sharing what you're doing that's working for you. So don't take it too much as like criticism. If somebody says, oh, I'm playing a mage and this guy's telling me my mage is in the A tier, he's really S plus tier. It could be that what I'm seeing is reflective of what other players are using, and they're not at the level that maybe you're playing at. Maybe you have a better gem set, maybe you have a better skill set, maybe you're just a better player. So those types of things always affect the classes. And so for me right now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and leave the mage on the A tier for that reason, just based on what I've seen so far. I have not seen too many top tier players with mages sitting way up there. Like I said, it's very glass cannon right now. Most of the mages that I saw had at least 8 or 9 deaths in each one of those battles. So, you also have to consider how many times you're dying, versus how many kills and that type of thing. So, but I'm gonna go leave it there. Last but not least, I'm actually gonna go ahead and put the Phantom Necro down at A today. And part of the reason why I'm bringing the Necro back down, and you guys remember this, I really, really like the Phantom Necro. But one of the biggest issues that I saw in arenas today is stuns. I kept getting caught quite a bit by a couple of warriors and a couple of paladins. Um, Not too much from the barbarian fighters, not too much from the hunters, or the ranger, I should say. The ranger did get me maybe like a couple of times. There was one one dude that just kept following me around the entire map, just really trying to get that kill on me. But essentially, yeah, the stuns are really what murder the necro. So if you're playing a phantom necro, you really got to play it as a ranged class. Don't get too close. Use your what do you call it? Your break ultimate. You have quite a few escape ultimates. Make sure that you guys use them. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop the Phantom Necro down to the A tier. And again, that's not a lack of skills on my end as to why I was dying quite a bit on the Phantom Necro. It is just simply because you get stunned once by the warrior, and then 2 seconds later you're getting stunned again by a paladin, and two more seconds again you're getting stunned by barbarian fighter. So it's just a monotony of like folks just stunning you right now in arenas, and the Phantom Necro has a pretty long cooldown on the ultimate to remove itself, and it just doesn't have that many skills that will allow you to basically get out of those particular situations. So that's where I'm at with these standing, guys. Hopefully you guys either agree or disagree. Like I said, if you disagree with these standings, feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know what you're using that is going to allow other folks to kind of read up on and maybe change their spec, change what they're doing, maybe seek out certain attributes or certain talent trees that'll help them push a little bit better in that class. So don't take too much of this tier list as a criticism, but more so as an opportunity for folks to kind of learn how the class works and then see how you can help others perfect that class. Because everybody here, is here to have fun. And I personally am having a lot of fun with the game. So I hope that you guys are having a little bit of fun with it too. I know there's definitely a pay to win aspect to this game. I'm probably gonna be throwing up a video on that particular subject because right now I couldn't tell you guys how confused I was when I first launched the game and I saw how many currencies there were in the game. I was just like, Jesus Christ, there's a currency for everything. Excuse my French, but there was literally a currency for reputation. There's a currency for books. There's a currency for gold. There's a currency for crystals. There's a currency for the Phantom Market cosmetic. There's so many different currencies within the game that it's almost like way too much. So, not to deviate away too much from this tier list, but like I said, guys, go ahead and leave your input in the comment section down below. We'll go ahead and review it. And hey, I'll come back and redo these probably in about a month or so once we actually know where the max attributes are at, what the base stats are looking like for each one of these classes. And then absolutely after spending quite a bit of time myself on a couple of these classes, I'll let you guys know my input. But in the meantime, I will be uploading some more playthrough guides and a couple more playthrough walkthroughs on some of these characters. Most of my characters are sitting right around 35 right now, with again this exception of the Paladin and the Phantom Necro, because I am essentially planning on maining both of those characters. But every now and then, the game is still early. It's still time to change and choose a different class. So, take your time with it, guys. But that's my recommendation for now. This is what I'm looking at for the standings post-launch. And I'll probably be uploading another video here in the next couple of weeks or next couple of days. Once we see some better numbers, once we hit that max level cap on the game. So anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like button. It does help me grow the channel out quite a bit. And I'll see you guys all on the next one. Take it easy, guys.